Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Noble and welcome to the channel. And guys, today I am so excited and proud to share with you my solo pet PVE sorcerer build. Yes, it's going to be talking about all things sorcerer, pets, crit, sustained, and we're going to be focusing on one of the new sets that came out with the Flames of Ambition DLC. This guide is primarily to showcase that new set, and it's also something that I find enjoyable. I find it fun to use. I like how it interacts with my character and what I'll be doing in game. This build is going to be for solo players. It does basically everything you want it to do for an overland content kind of scheme. Do dungeons, world bosses, public dungeons, all sorts of things. I have not taken it into trials, and I don't think that I will. This is just for solo PvEers who just want to change it up if you're playing for a while, or if you're new and don't have a ton of stuff. All of this gear is very accessible, and all these skills are super accessible. So I just want to let you guys know before we get started that I stream every week on Twitch. You can find me there at twitch.tv/NoblePlays ESO. I also upload videos here on the Elder Scrolls Online. This is my primary source to getting out ESO content, so check YouTube before Twitch. I upload videos at least twice a week here on the channel, so if that interests you, hit that subscribe button, smash the like button. Let's get this build out to as many solo players as possible. But yeah, without further ado guys, let's go ahead and jump right into my solo PvE pet sorcerer build. Alright guys, here we are on my Magicka Sorcerer. Now, a couple things that I want to say before we jump right in. The main purpose of this build is to showcase the new Unleashed Ritualist set that came with the Flames of Ambition DLC. I put out a video a couple weeks prior to the release. You can check that video out. I'll put the thumbnail up there on the screen for you guys if you're looking for it on my channel. But basically, I think it is a viable option for pet sorc builds. Now, the purpose of this, outside of showcasing the new set, is to give you guys another option when messing around with a solo build. There is no meta for solo play, in my opinion. Some builds will work better than others, but it all comes down to preference, and I think this is a viable option for people, whether you are new or just want to try something else. If you've been doing a solo build for a long time, I really think this will work for you. I find it really fun, and I don't see myself switching off of this really anytime soon. So if you know of better build combos, I'm sure they probably are maybe better or better optimized, but I feel like this is, pretty optimized for what we are working with. So I definitely want to hear what you think of the build in the comment section down below. I just wanted to get that out of the way so people aren't like, oh my god, this is supposed to be the top-notch build. I think it's pretty good. I spoke with a couple other ESO YouTubers and content creators, and they gave me some tips. But at the end of the day, this is my build, so I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you guys like it. So let's go ahead and just jump right into the stats. Obviously, we're putting 64 points into Magicka. Get all that stuff in there. Our max Magicka with our food is 37k, so that's nice. Maximum health 20, maximum stamina 13. Not really worried about any of that. Magicka recovery is pretty good. Health recovery, not so great, but it's not that important considering how much heals that this build does have. And then in stamina recovery, 692, meh, could be a little bit better. Running at around 13% weapon critical, about 20% spell critical, which is more important honestly, and about 6,500 spell pen with some nice spell resistance, and crit resistance doesn't really matter because this is PvE, so no need to worry about that. If you want to look at the more advanced stats, I will pull that up here for you. This is from all like the champion point stuff being brought in. So everything's running around between anywhere from 10 to 25%. We are running all light armor, so keep in mind those penalties, but it doesn't really matter. But I wanted to have that on the screen for you guys to see. As far as the Mundus Stone, I'm running the Apprentice, increase your spell damage by 343. Nice callback to 343 Industries. I have for food, it is the Witch Mother's Potent Brew. There are other ones you could do, but I had this one on hand and it really helps. It doesn't really, do amazing things, but it gets the job done, and it's really cheap on the Guild Traders if you are interested in picking that up or don't have the recipe to craft it. So keep that in mind if you're looking for food. Pretty much any food will work on this solo build. We get all of those crown fortifying meals every month through the daily rewards. So if you don't have Witch Mother's Brew, then just use one of those and you'll be fine. It'll help you with the stamina then too. So that is what we have for the way of stats. I'll leave this up here for a little bit for you guys to see. Now I'm going to move right over to our gear, which is super important. Now this is where a lot of people will find, other things. So I want to preface this by saying you can run this with a bunch of other builds if you want, or change the way the set combos are, but I'm running it this way because I like it this way. So I have 5 pieces of the Ritualist. So this is the new set that came out with Flames of Ambition. You can get this by running the Cauldron dungeon, one of the 2 new dungeons here in update 29. And then I am running 4 pieces of Seducer, and then I'm running 3 Crafty Alfiq for the jewelry, and then the weapons are Seducer as well. But I want to jump back and talk about the Ritualist versus other sets. So a lot of Sorc mains will tell you that there are better sets to run, and there definitely are, but like I said, I really want to showcase this new set because I personally enjoy it and find it really fun to use. So I paired it up with the Seducer. We've got some insane Magicka recovery on both of these, so you're never going to be running out of Magicka, as well as the increase to our maximum Magicka all across the board. So this is something you can really spam, and we'll get into it in the skills in just a few minutes. That's why I said that. And then as far as what we're running, as far as the traits, we've got Divines on everything. The only thing I actually don't have Divines on is the boots, because I have yet to research that, but you want to go full Divines. But increase armor enchantment effect by 17%, it doesn't matter, it's a solo build. But ideally you want to go with all Divines here, okay? And then jewelry is all arcane for maximum Magicka. And all these Magicka glyphs, like these are all the enchants are maximum Magicka, everything here. This is weapon damage for the Inferno Staff, and then Restoration Staff has the Absorb Magicka enchantment, and these are running both infused. So we have a lot of good sustained, great recovery. It's all there for a solo build. If you don't like running with people, or if you just want to do stuff by yourself, you can use this in dungeons. I have not tested it in any kind of trial, so it's mainly just for overland stuff. If you're just wanting to, conquer public dungeons, world boss content, things like that, this is perfect. So that's why I decided to run with all of this. Now, this is why I want to talk about this Unritualist set, or Shoes of the Unritualist, I guess, or Ritualist. I'm completely mixing it up. It's the Unleashed Ritualist, guys. So the first 4 pieces are normal. We have a ton of those sets, but it's the 5th piece, the overall, bringing the set together, is dealing damage to an enemy, applies Ritualist Mark to them for 10 seconds. Enemies with your Ritualist Mark take an additional 15% damage from your summoned pets. Now, since this is a solo pet build, we have our 2 Daedric pets as well, and I'm pretty sure, I'm like 90% sure it applies to the Etronach as well, but I don't really use that very often. So correct me if I'm wrong on that in the comments, but I couldn't find anything to completely discredit that idea. So we're gonna get a ton of extra damage from running the 5-piece for this. If you weren't gonna run the 5-piece, I wouldn't recommend using this at all, because you can get so many more things. Like, you can go full Seducer and run the 5-piece and get the reduced cost to your Magicka abilities by 10%, but I don't think we need it because of how much Magicka we're working with, and at the recovery rate, it's not going to affect us. The decrease to the 10% isn't going to affect us that much. So that is why I like the Ritualist set. I really like it for the 5-piece. It has a fun little, status effect. I like it. It's cool. But this is what I'm running. For some honorable mentions, I want to take some quick time to shout out Hack the Minotaur for, running me through some different things that he would use. You could pair the Ritualist set with, Julianos. You can do it with Necropotence. You can do it with a couple other things. So if that's something that you would rather use, you can do that. Some basically do the same thing as what my build has, but if you'd rather not use Seducer, Necropotence and Julianos are great options as well for you if you have them. So you can get Seducer crafted, so you can probably find it on the guild traders if you don't know anyone or if you can't craft it. And then for, like I said, the Ritualist set, you can get it from the Cauldron. I think I ran it about 5 or 6 times to get all the pieces, and I love the Cauldron. It's one of my favorite dungeons, so it's not that bad. So it doesn't take too long to get any of this. None of it's all golded out or anything like that. I don't think that's super necessary, so go ahead and roast me in the comments for not having, everything gold. Doesn't really matter to me. So with that being said, let's go on and jump to the skills. So I've got a ton of extra skill points since the reset. I haven't picked up a lot of stuff, but I have everything we need for this pet build. So on our front bar, we have Crushing Shock. That's going to be our primary spammable, like most Sorks, I feel like use this a lot. And then our second skill is Crystal Frags, another Sorcerer staple. And then we have, this is where we started getting to the pet stuff, we have Daedric Prey. So you will curse an enemy with a destructive rune, dealing 10,133 magic damage to the target and about 4,300 magic damage to all other nearby enemies after 6 seconds. While the curse is active, your pets deal an additional 20% damage to the target. This is really nice because if you look back to the Ritualist set, we are going to have an additional 15% damage from our summoned pets when that mark is active on an enemy. So this is going to be helpful when you're taking on more difficult enemies or bosses. So after that, we have our typical Summon Twilight Tormentor and our Summon Unstable Clan Fear. These are the staples of the Sorcerer as far as pets go. And then on the front bar ultimate, we have the Charged Atronach. Now, you can go with the other version of this. I went with this one because if you're running with some people, any ally near the Atronach can activate the Charged Lightning synergy, granting the ally the Major Berserk, increasing their damage done by 10% for 8 seconds. So if you're running with some friends, it's pretty helpful. So before I jump into the second bar, I just want to tell you guys, grab all your passives, right? Grab your Destruction Staff passives, grab any passives that you're using from any of the skill lines. Make sure you have them all. I mean, that's really embarrassing. I completely forgot these two, so we're just going to grab those real quick. Why not? Grab those, and then, like I said, weapon, get your armor stuff. So we do have light armor penalties, but I'm not really worried about it. Increases the cost of block by 3. Not really, worth it in my opinion. But grab all of your light armor passives, grab your racial passives, and I keep forgetting to do this every time we do any kind of guide, anytime I make a guide or something like that. What kind of race do you want? I like going Dark Elf. You can go Khajiit if you want, but I prefer using Dark Elf if you really want to min-max, but I just think Dark Elves are the coolest race. That's why I picked it. So pick up all your passives. So going to the back bar, we have Boundless Storm, which is manifest yourself as pure lightning, zapping nearby enemies with electricity, dealing 812 shock damage every 1 second for 23 seconds. While in this form, you gain Major Resolve, increasing your physical resistance and spell resistance by about 6,000. Activating this grants a major expedition for a brief period, increasing your movement speed. So that's pretty cool. You can also change your movement speed with the new champion point system that's out. So that's something, if you want to look into, works as well. And then we are running a damage shield. We're running Dampen Magic. Convert a portion of your Magicka into a protective ward, gaining a damage shield that absorbs about 11,000 damage for 6 seconds. Damage shield strength capped at 60% of your max health. Each piece of light armor equipped increases the amount of damage absorbed by 5%. I totally botched that. Each piece of light armor equipped and worn. And then I'm running Critical Surge. Now, this is where I felt like you could interchange some things. I personally would go with Crit Surge. Shout out to Hack for telling me to switch to Crit Surge. I had Rapid Regen on this because I ran a Restoration Staff on this bar, but this is going to be a lot better. You're going to get more healing out of this if this is always up, so make sure you have that running at all times. That's going to be important to keep you alive, but we've got damage shields, and your pets are going to do a lot of the tanking stuff for you, so that's actually pretty neat. And then we have the typical pets from the same bar. You have to double bar them, or else they're going to die when you switch, so make sure to have them on both the front and the back bar. Super important. And then I have Power Overload for this ultimate. Now, why did I pick this? Literally, any reason why I picked this? Because it looks freaking awesome. This is a solo PVE fun build. It looks freaking awesome. I feel like I'm Emperor Palpatine when I'm using Power Overload. So if you want to change it out with like Meteor or something, works fine. Do that. But I like the way this looks. Like, you get to charge your fists, right? Charge your fists with some lightning, and it's replacing your heavy attacks and stuff with new, stronger abilities. It's sick. So why not mess with that? So that essentially covers all of the skills. I think it's actually a pretty good use of skills. You can use things like Temporal Ward if you have access to it. I prefer this setup because when it comes to like the rotation is super easy. You're just light attack spamming with Crushing Shock, and then when that procs Crystal Frags, you're going to use that. Or you can be bad like me sometimes and just cast Crystal Frags because you like the way the animation looks. Either way works fine for me. So that's essentially the rotation, because your pets are going to do everything for you. They're going to do a lot of the damage. You just got to make sure you keep your Daedric Prey up, and then you got to make sure you keep Boundless Storm and Crit Surge running, because your pets and everything are going to do a lot of damage, take a lot of the tanking stuff for you, so you can just be in the back casting and no one's really going to pay any attention to what you're doing, which is great. So that is it for the skills, and I think now we can just jump straight into the champion points. This is with the new system. I'm basically calling this for the 600 level CP area. I'm currently 561. We'll start off with the craft tree because it doesn't really affect us right now, or at all. This is just what I decided to throw in because I needed to put the points somewhere, and why not? It's helpful. I have Break Fall, reduces fall damage by 7% per stage. Then I have Wanderer, reduces the cost of Waste Shrine usage, which is just for me because I'm lazy. And then Steadfast Enchantment. I do want to put more points into this, where the weapon enchants decay is 20% slower per stage. That actually is really nice. And then Out of Sight reduces the radius you can be detected. And then Fleet Phantom reduces movement speed penalty of sneak by 5% per stage. And if we go over to the Warfare tree, this is really the big one that we're spending a lot of time on. So I have the Untamed Aggression and Arcane Supremacy for all that max Magicka weapon and spell damage. And then I put 20 points in Eldritch Insight, grants 260 Magicka per stage. So you want to keep putting that in as much as possible. I have 40 in Precision, which is critical chance per stage, which you must have. And then Reaving Blows, when you deal direct damage, you heal for 7% of the damage done. So you're not really going to be dying in this. It's going to take some time for you to die. And then I have Backstabber, increases your critical damage up by 3% against enemies you're flanking. And you can move around pretty well with this build. So you probably are going to be flanking a little bit, especially when your pets are going to be doing a lot of the damage for you. So moving into the fitness tree, I have 10 in on guard just to get that started. These are all crowd control things, which actually help if you're fighting bosses, so works out for you, right? And then I have 15 in savage defense, 25 in tireless guardian. I have 26 in hasty, 20 in sprinter, 20 in rousing speed, 30 in tumbling because roll dodge is important. And then I have 21 in rejuvenation, and then I have peace of mind, 10 points in that, 10 points in defiance as well. But that is the champion point system that I use. Those are the point distributions. So that is essentially the build. Like I said, I will place things on the screen. I'll probably do it earlier in the video if I think it like fits in there, but I can put in some substitutes if you don't have access to this gear. And as always, as far as like the outfit that I'm using, this is just a made up one. I got some of the pieces from the event from like over the summer, not the tribunal event. It was the event before the Undaunted event. I'm a complete idiot sometimes. The Undaunted event, that's where I got the shoulders and the staff animation from, or the, well, it does have an animation, but the staff style. I do like this. It fits really well for my like Daedric Sork and stuff like that. But yep, that is the outfit. Alright guys, that's gonna do it for the video. That is the build. What did you think about it? I really want to know what you think of this new set, the Unleashed Ritualist set. It is one of my favorites of this DLC. I know a lot of people don't like it, and a lot of Sork people don't like it, but I do, and that's really all that matters at the end of the day, is finding something that fits your playstyle and something that you enjoy, and that's why I chose it. But if you found this video fun, enjoyable, are you going to use it, are you not going to use it? Let me know in the comment section down below. But if you found my content enjoyable, informative, don't forget guys, smash that like button and hit subscribe so you don't miss a single ESO video or stream over on my Twitch channel. I really would appreciate it. But guys, it's going to do it for me. Thank you so much for watching again. My name is Noble, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.